Hi, I'm Jimmy Takter. I'm up here in Goshen, New York at the Museum Hall of Fame and welcome everybody where harness racing coming alive. Thank you, Chip. Well, I want to welcome everybody and it's nice to see so many people want to come here and listen to what I can say about harness racing. I'm like Chip said, I came here actually December '82 with my lovely wife Christina, and we had our daughter with us, and she's she's the girl that trained JK. She's a lady, and she's doing very well. So we are very proud over Nancy. And I got to tell you a little bit background on myself. I come from Sweden, and my father, Bo William, he was a really great trainer. I mean, he taught us a lot, my brother and me. My brother is one of the leading driver in Europe, so I was here. I came to this country when I was 17 for 10 months, working for a stable called Continental Stable back then, and now it's Jan Johnson is the one that continue running that stable, and it was something about this land that all your grandparents or where everybody came over here for. We came a little later, but it's something special here in the United States, and I'm a citizen now, and I'm consider myself as much American as anybody out there because it was my choice. Harness racing is it's a lovely sport. I mean, it's a tough game, and you have to be very passionate for what you're doing with these horses, and try to climb into the brain on them and understand it's a living creature you're working with, and understand that they have a lot of feelings too, and be able to deal with issues that every day. What else can I say about myself? As a we're running our stable in New Jersey. We have approximately 85 horses, and like Chip said, we are participate a lot with these horses in ownership. My wife and me, and we have our own farm in outside Hightstown, New Jersey, and we're running a staff of about 25-30 people working for us, and we've been very fortunate, that we have great owners, and they have a lot of faith in me and our operation. So it's easier now when you're dealing with much better horses than you did in the past. So right now, we couldn't have a better group of horses than ever had. It's a little bit hard for me to know really what to talk about here, but I hate to talk too much about myself, really. I mean, that's tough to brag about yourself, but I'm proud of what I've done. Biggest, of course, to be inducted into a Hall of Fame, this lovely place here, and all the great people that are in it, and be a part of that group of people. That's something I'm really proud over. And if anybody have any question of things they wanted me to talk about, I'm open here. How I train horses, that could be something maybe somebody interested in, and whatever, free to ask me question regarding my job and my business.
Jim, talk to him about your year last year. What a great year that was.
Yeah, last year was, it was a unique year because I going into, I'll end up into, I didn't know. I thought Patrick was the best 2-year-old, and then I got a phone call from Stefan Melander that had Nuncio, and he's a good friend of mine for 30 years, and he asked me if I could train Nuncio because Jim Oskarsson, he decided to go back to Sweden. So I said, yeah, sure. And then I ended up having also Trixton, which I had a lot of faith in. He was a little difficult horse. He had, he injured hind ankle as a 2-year-old. So, but I know how much great potential that horse had. So, and they ended up to be the 3 big contender for all the big races. So, and they were fantastic, those 3 horses. And then, of course, I topped off with the 2 best trotting fillies, Checky Carry and Lifetime Pursuit. And, it was one of those years that basically everything was working right. And you just couldn't believe how lucky you were to have all these good horses at the same time. So that was one of those years.
Jimmy, do you have a favorite meat? Not steak or anything, but I mean, you like going to Lexington or?
Yeah, no, I actually, the favorite time of the year is what I'm doing right now. I've never really been a racehorse trainer. Even that my background was based racehorse business. My father was extremely good on racehorses, and after I left, he started to actually train young horses. But during the time I worked for him, he never did. But my best time is basically right now, and like tomorrow, we are having 21 horses, 2-year-olds at Meadlands, and we're gonna, finish them up for getting ready for the races, and we do that every Thursday. I brought 23 horses last week, and 21 or 22 tomorrow, and I think it's May 30th they started baby racing, and that's that time of the year, because a lot of times you think you have a good horse, and a lot of times you get disappointed. But the same token, you put the horse behind the gate. That's really when you started seeing, a little bit what you've done with them. Because I'm very fortunate to train very good horses, but I really believe it's the human error decide if you're going to have a great horse or not. These horses today are extremely talented, and and they're very fragile, and you have to, treat them right, and it's like a report card early June, and see what you've done all winter if you have done a good job. So this time of the year is my favorite time.
Obviously, sorry. I'd say obviously you love trotters. Have you enjoyed dabbling in pacers a little bit?
Well, yeah, my background is to all trotters, but I decided about maybe 10, 12 years ago that we have to expand a little bit into the pacing industry. And believe it or not, actually our first horse we bought in this country, how many years ago? 31 years ago was a pacer, and his name was Whitson's Apollo, and he supported our family. He was a special horse, and he was a most happy fella, and so pacers I had a few over the years, but when I really started to get serious about it, and started purchase horses like I do with my trotters, but you bought a little better quality and things like that. But I've been a ball. I enjoy these pacers too. They are fantastic, tough too. It's for me, it's a horse. It's a horse. It's those pacers are just amazing.
So what are the biggest changes you've seen in the last 5 years, and what do you expect for the next 5?
Well, first of all, the speed these horses. I've been here for 33 years, 32 years now, and if you go back and see what the horses performed back in in the early 80s and what they can do today. I mean, it's, you know, like, it's just amazing how fast these horses are coming into. I mean, I used to say every horse have one speed basically, and a good horse have two speeds, and a great horse have three speeds, but a great horse have one speed now, all the way. These horses, they can go and carrying speed like it's like unbelievable. And you've seen that, like you said in a question, last 5 years. I mean, they carrying the speed. You know, I mean, 2-year-olds going as fast. I mean, look at the trotting filly Mission Brief last year. You know, that Ronnie Burke trained, 50 and 3 and Red Mile. I mean, that's faster basically, and mostly trotting fillies did as 3 and older. So they come to speed so much faster now, and I think the future is going to be more of that. Unfortunately, it's tougher for us trainers also to keep them sound. I mean, it's the speed also take away a little bit of the durability in the horse. You know, I mean, the faster you go, it's tougher on the horse too.
Jimmy, talk about from an operations point of view. You said you got 23 horses going up to Meadowlands. So how many vehicles do you have? Do you do all your own trucking? How do you handle that point?
Yeah, we do a fair amount ourselves, but we have companies that doing our jobs too, and but we have I think we have like 5 sets of trucks and trailers, big trucks and trailers, and like we're racing, basically starting now. I'm in like tomorrow I'm gonna be in Meadowlands training those babies, and I got Yannick Ingras and Brett Miller coming down and training with me. I mean, and then we right away got to drive fast down to Chester. We're racing 5 horses down there in the afternoon. And that's ongoing basically every day now. I mean, it's like, Friday we Meadowlands, Saturday going to be a couple different tracks, and Tioga Sunday. I mean, the schedule is really starting to be tight now, so we're running a lot of trucks and try to run the operation. Unfortunately, I have great staff that do organization for me. I mean, basically I just dealing with the horses. I do all the entries, and that's tough entry, to do. But thank God for the online entry, and that's make it so much easier for us today, and it was in the old days.
When you go to sales, do you look more at pedigree or do you look more at confirmation?
Well, the sales, to expand your question a little bit, the sale part, because I'm basically dealing just with young horses. We're training approximately 52-year-olds right now, and I have actually a guy full-time employed for me that his job is just to looking at babies, and that not meaning that he just go to the sale a week out. And I mean, when a horse coming to the sale, like those horses that sells actually this fall, we saw last year some of them, and most of these horses, when we go to sale, we've been seen 2-3 times, and his job is basically separate the horses we don't think have what we take, and then I coming in with him, and we look at the horses together and try to pick out the best potential. To answer your question, for me, pedigree is number one. Of course, confirmation is important. I mean, the horse got to be able to hold up for it. But if they don't have pedigree, I think it's hard. You maybe have a sound, slow horse, but that's not going to benefit you either. So, but try to always look at the pedigree. Try to study the breeding book, combinations, no families, and my father gave me good advice before I left over to this country, and he said, study the sire and dam book, and I used to be very good at pedigrees, and the older you get, and you kind of forget a little bit more. But the pedigree is to me number one.
What is your philosophy? How do you think? What are your feelings on training and conditioning of all your horses?
Well, I mean, I'm a little bit old-fashioned when it comes to training. I mean, it's I think I put my horses in something we used to call it boot camp. Basically, I mean, I'm a tough trainer, but same token, I'm rarely train horses fast. I'm a grinder. I believe like Mark and me just talked about, like in the old days they trained a lot of heats, and now these horses are very natural and they don't require as much. I think they do. I think if you put, I know that you can get in races and use through a couple fast heats but it's also try to keep them so they can handle more races. I mean, it's like foundation, and we have very small time in this country. I buy these horses in end of September, early October and November, and then I gotta have them ready like in June, July, and the speed they're going today. So it's a very short time, but I'm very much for a lot of heats and a lot of volume and very little high speed. I mean, speed I think they're born with. I think that's like we question, you say pedigree. That's what they have inside of them. It's just a lot of consistent, training and not so much speed. It's the speed I think it kind of injure them more, and then just going even speed with them.
With trotting hobbles now, I mean, 10, 15 years ago when I first became a groom, nobody wore them. Now it seems like everybody wears them. I mean, do you think that they wear them because that natural trotting ability has been sort of bred out of the horse, or do you think that everyone's wearing them now because it improves the horse that much more?
Well, I mean, if they would have put a partition up, I would have signed, take them off. But at same token, I mean, it's like, I mean, it's horse make a break, you're out of the picture. And really, the trotting hobbles, you can kind of get away with a little tighter driving and stuff like that. I mean, it's unfortunately, I'm not really. Do I use them? Yes, but I try to. I can sometimes have a 2-year-old, and 2-year-olds, it's like if you have like a little child, he have support wheels on his bike, but I like to take them off if I can. I mean, it's like I think for the horse to really feel the maximum, I think it go faster without trotting hobbles. But if you got to race at some of these tracks we have, and the speed they're going, especially half-mile track and stuff like that, it's expensive to make breaks too. And I mean, if you can keep them in the picture, you have a better chance to, make some money out of them.
You, in many instances, have more than one horse in a race, and you use catch drivers an awful lot. Is there a specific system or thought process that goes into selecting a particular horse with a particular catch driver? Obviously, you like to use the best. You use Yannick a lot, but you're racing some days 2, 3 different tracks. What process do you use to select your driver?
Well, I mean, I've been here for over 30 years, and I know all those guys very much. I mean, I know them very well, and to know somebody also, the weakness, what they're good at, and the strength and things like that. And I know my horses, so I try to combine the right person for the right horse. And I mean, fortunately, I have a lot of good horses, and it's easier today when you have good horses. You get the best driver most of the time, I mean, most of these guys are extremely good drivers, and I mean, like you mentioned, Yannick is a very young, talented kid, and he do fantastic job, and he's young and he's hungry, things like that I like, and I mean, but that don't mean that he's so much better. Of course, he have a big edge. He driving my horses and Ron Burke's horses. I mean, you give those drives to basically anyone, they would be the top two. So I don't hang myself too much on the drivers. I mean, don't take me wrong. I have a lot of respect for them. They are very good, but sometimes you try to find the right person for the horse. I mean, I drove myself Trixton to win Hambetonia last year, and because I know I was probably the one that would win with him, because that don't mean I'm a better driver, but on that horse I was. So you have to know your horse, you have to know the driver, and that's why you try to pick the best potentially person for the horse.
So do you feel that there may be some drivers out there that you've noticed that maybe aren't getting the kind of drives or the respect that maybe they deserve? Or do you see any emerging talent?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's so many young guys that are extremely talented. I mean, you see when I go out west and thing like that, you see guys that, that are. If I would have taken those guys under my wing, they would be high-profile people, without a doubt. I mean, there are a lot of guys that are looking for a break, and you try to give them a young guy a shot, and try to help them out a little bit, and I like that. I mean, it's everybody deserves a break in the life, and I know myself. I wasn't a big trainer a while ago. I mean, somebody gave you a break, you appreciate it too.
Can you talk about getting Maven ready to go overseas and what that was like compared to getting her ready for races over here?
Well, Maven is it's kind of a little tough to get ready, because I bought her in November, and she raced a couple starts here, and she was second in British Crown, and she was unfortunately just fifth in the TVG with a finish with a lot of power left, and so she went to Europe very fast. So it was an ideal preparation. I mean, when I won the Prix d'Amérique with Moneymaker, I had 6 months totally concentrating for that race, and Maven never had that opportunity. So then you ask maybe why did you send them over then? But I had a plan that it would work out a little bit, but I know Prix d'Amérique would have been a very difficult race for her to win. But then I also know Orsi Magnelli, Kensemer, where she finished second. Unfortunately, she drew every start over their bad post, so things haven't worked out too good. Last start, when she finished second in Denmark Copenhagen Cup, she was fantastic. So hopefully things going to turn around a little bit here for her now, and I think I'm going into the elite lap here as with a very good chance to do very well. So I feel very optimistic.
Jimmy, can you talk a little bit about the layout of your training center? And you have a training track, you have the strips,
Sure.
and how you decide who's going to train where?
Well, I mean, we have 100 acres. We purchased raw land, 100 acres, and I was looking for a piece of land that was a little long and narrow, and not so square. I mean, I have a 5/8 training track, and it's, to me, is as good as any racetrack we have basically in North America. And we have a sand jog track. It's about 2 mile long, and then we have a 3/4 mile deep sand straight track training. my 3-year-olds, for example, they whole winter they just basically stay on the straight track. I keep that dug up pretty good all winter. It's some days it's terrible out there, but muddy and stuff like that. But we keep on grinding them up and down on this straight track, and about 3 weeks prior to the event, they gotta go out and races. That's when I started thinking about maybe putting some round track works. And normally I do 1 or 2 round track jobs on the track, and then they're ready to qualify. And the surprising with this, I rarely go in speed faster than 35 and 40 for a period of 4 or 5 months, and then take them out and going 2 workouts, and they qualify, and they are ready to race. I mean, you experiment a little bit over years, and you learn your horse and learn your stuff, and it's just amazing how my philosophy is a little bit try to get this horse from point A to B with less wear and tear and not hurting them, and same token get as much into them as possible. The old traditional way of training, like dropping couple seconds every week and stuff like that, has a lot of wear and tear that now I'm talking just with 3-year-olds and older. 2-year-olds is totally different. I do a lot of triple headers with my 2-year-olds. They stay out on the track for 3 heats, and we started that basically middle of February, and they go in 3 trips twice a week, but slow, and good groups, like 6-7 horses in every set. So it's basically they're going small races from January when we started training them to they started racing. So for these horses, when they're getting into the race field, it's like no big different, it's just going faster, but slowly grind them down, but never anyone pulling in the stretch and passing each other. They're sitting there and just, the stretch is the same. The first quarter is the same as the last quarter. They don't even know where they are.
You find less wear and tear by using the straight track? That's part of the benefit of that?
Well, it's young horse, of course. I mean, it's like turns. Of course, it's hurt horses more. I mean, it's more stress on them and going a straight track. And but the 2-year-olds, they need that a little bit, and they're not mentally as strong either. I mean, it's like you're going a 3/4 mile straight with a untrained young horse. It's like forever. But if you're going around the circle, it don't feel that bad. I mean, it's a little mentally on them too. I mean, that's why I don't really like to train 2-year-olds on mile track. Not because I think it's too long stretch. It's mentally too hard on them in the beginning. 3-year-olds, I think it don't matter, but 2-year-olds, I like to stay on little shorter tracks if I can.
Other questions?
Moneymaker, one of my favorites. What's the difference between her and, I don't want to say Maven, but trotters of today? Why is it she accomplished so much? I know she was a special horse, but there's been so much time in between. Is it that she was that special and there's been no one since? Or is there something that we did different with her that we're not doing now?
She was the best, and I know she just went 52-1 that was a record, believe it or not. Mission brief, 2-year-old today, 50-3. it's different times. But you know, it's like, I mean, everything was perfect with her. She never had a bad blood test. She never got stressed up. She ate like a pig. I mean, I mean, travel all. I think we flew her 7 times overseas. Gosh, how many hours she was on trucks. And soon as she come off the truck, she ate, you know. And but I mean, I remember I didn't develop Moneymaker. I take a lot of pride in horses I develop. Bill Andrews was the one that developed her, and he did a fantastic job with her. You gotta understand, I got Moneymaker in training. She had 17 wins in 18 starts as a 3-year-old. I remember my good friend Per Eriksson said, "Why are you taking her? You know, you're just gonna look bad." It was the best thing I ever did, because that filly, I was able to make an international star, and winning in Prix d'Amérique, Elite Lap, and British Crown, and gosh knows what. She won basically everything, and she was just, I was just a good babysitter to her. She did all the job. You know, it's like Wally Hennessy say the same. And but I remember first start, she had 17 win out of 18 starts, and she lost the British Crown by an inch or two in Bernal, I think it was. First start for me, she make a break. John Campbell drove. John Campbell got fired. I drove him in the second start, and I won the race. And you know, we put Wally Hennessy back on the horse, and he didn't drive her in Prix d'Amérique because I insisted we gotta have a French driver there. But you know, we end up. My brother drove her quite a few times in Europe, and I won quite a few times also in Europe with her. But she was just a fantastic horse. I don't think ever been one better, and it's never going to be one better. Maybe as good, but never better.
In kind of every race with every horse that you have, there's really 4 components to a race. You got the trainer, you got the horse, you got the owner, and you have the driver. How much does each of those play in creating a winner?
I think, well, look at it like this. You have a puzzle. You have 1,000 pieces or 100 pieces in the puzzle. You're making it a picture out of the puzzle. If 20 missing, you don't have a perfect picture. The more pieces you have in the puzzle, you have a better picture. That's how it is. For me, I used to say, oh gosh, you know, you don't have to like all the owners you're working for. For me today is a must. But I'm in a fortunate situation that I'm really could exist without owners. I mean, I can own them less horses with my wife and probably have a less stressful life, but I like people. I have wonderful owners. You know, they're the greatest in the world, and they understand me, leave me alone when they know, because they know I worry about everything. That's how I am, and they know that. So, but the only way I can explain is like, actually my father told me this puzzle thing, you know, and it's a lot to it, you know. You gotta stay focused on the small details, the small mistakes we're doing all the time. Try to adjust them, you know. Small mistake can become a very big mistake, you know, and that's my recommendation is always stay, you know, to this groom, get along with this horse. Can be a great groom, but they know chemistry change. thing like that. Maybe the horse don't like that stall because the tree is shaking all the time. Switch. All the time you have to think small details, make a big picture in this, and stay away from small mistakes because they become big mistakes.
What do you feel was your biggest accomplishment, your biggest disappointment?
In harness racing, of course, Hall of Fame. It's to me, it's be a part of this. It's as a trainer, is the biggest you can be, and of course stayed married for all these years. Have a lovely wife. I have 4 children and 5 grandkids. So it's it's not easy to stay married in this business. It's very time consuming and it's very hard on especially your wife. You're never home, and it's a tough life. It's not for everybody, that's for sure. Disappointments, try not to think about them. Put them behind you. I had a very bad day today, so it's you can drive you nuts if you started thinking too much about disappointments, because every day there is disappointment. You have so many young horses I have, and tragedy and mistakes and stuff like that happen, and it's really hard. But try to put it behind you, and so don't think about mistakes. And if you do mistake, learn from them.
Time for one more question.
What advice do you have for someone who's new to all of this? In general, like what advice do you have?
New in all of, what do you mean new?
Touched a horse in 15
Huh?
She hasn't touched a horse in 15 years. I mean, when she was younger, she'd come to the farm with me, the track all the time, and I got divorced, and she went, I didn't spend as much time with her as I probably should have, and she hasn't, as I said, she hasn't touched a horse in 15 years. So for her coming out here this week, this is all new to her, where I've been doing this for 15, 20 years. So to try to share my love of racing with her is.
Well, you love horses? You like to work with them? So why don't you? There's a lot of opportunity here. We always look for good help. Give your phone number to my wife, give you a job. There is always, we'll always look for qualified people that have a passion. The most important question I ask you, do you love the horses? You love the horses, you can be good at it. If you don't love horses, don't work for me. You also had a question.
I was just going to ask real quick. You said you were old-fashioned, which, as the breed is developing, the sport's changing, but you said you're old-fashioned, but you're also known for some of the innovations that you've introduced in training, to America at least. So I was going to ask, as we move forward and things are going to, I think, change more rapidly, what place does innovation play? Even though you're old-fashioned, what place does innovation play in how you move forward?
Well, I'm old-fashioned in a little bit that I need, I'm not old-fashioned. Because really, I'm just old, yeah. No, but you have to always think ahead. Just because it worked 3 years ago, they don't mean it worked today. Because horses are changing all the time. I think the mistake a lot of trainers done, what worked 15 years ago, it should work today, I just bad luck. I would be a horrible guy, really, to write a book how to train a horse like the old guys did in the old days. I mean, people that train with me, they never know what I'm going to do. I mean, because I try to see this as an art. You have to create things. You have to visualize things. I mean, if you keep on banging your head in the wall, you're going to get a headache. Stop doing it. You got to find a way how to get through that door without, I mean, you have to be thinking a little deeper in everything. You cannot just say, you're more I train, he's going to be stronger. That's not true either, because I believe maybe big portion of horses are overtrained today. So you have to feel it. And I think that's, fortunately me, I think I'm born with that, to be able to see that and feel that with a horse. Some people maybe not so fortunate like I am to feel that, but you can train that, and don't be afraid to change. If something don't work, you make your pasta too much salt, take out a little salt. You got to change, and same training horses. Got to be creative, and don't do the same. I mean, I don't train my horses the same I did last year. Not, I mean, people would think I'm crazy. My horse made almost 19,000 per start. Maybe I'm stupid, yeah, but you cannot be afraid to do mistakes, because that's when you will do mistakes. I mean, so it didn't work out. Then you can learn a little bit from it and be an invention. But old-fashioned, maybe I'm not old-fashioned, but I'm thinking that you have to have volume in the horses, in training, and that's what they had in the old days. That's what I'm conserving to, in old-fashioned then.
Last year you had a lot of great drivers, but who was your favorite out of the ones that you had, and why?
Last year? Well, I never thought, I mean, I used to drive a lot of races, when I was younger, and when I trained cheaper horses, and, so it didn't mean that much when I messed up, But when I started training good horses, I started back off driving, and I started using the better drivers and stuff like that. But of course, winning a Hamiltonia last year, I mean, that's something that not at the moment. I'm a little weird like that, because I was so right after it happened, I mean, you did, yeah, but really, when I started analyze where was Father Patrick, inside of me, I was a little disappointed, because at that time, I know he was the better one. He was the one that's supposed to win the race, and we finished first and second, Trixton and Nuncio, but it was a disappointment. But now when I look back to it, because my wife put up a big picture of him in my office, that's a moment, it's really special. I mean, where he was, how I took him there, he broke down. I started driving him myself, and believe me or not, he almost broke for me at the half. I think my heart stands still for at least a couple beats there, But he came back, and unfortunately he had too much issues in his hind ankles. Otherwise, he could have been even greater horse than he was. So he was probably my favorite moment, last year with horse. I would say my favorite horse last year, yes.
Well, I think on that we'll end, because that's a great story. Jimmy, thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, that'll conclude tonight's festivities, and don't forget, be at the Markford Barn tomorrow morning at what time? 7:29.
7:29.